One other thing before we get out of here. I wanted to speak about, so I was having this beautiful, maybe not beautiful, maybe just a very unique conversation with somebody. And we were talking about death, right? Because that's one of the things that I always talk about. I'm always talking about death. Because death to me has always been so fascinating, right? And it's so fascinating because it's guaranteed for us as far as we know. And we know about it. And we can kind of predict when it's going to happen, right? Unless there's like a radical, freak event, right? We know it's going to happen. And we have biomarkers in our body that tell us when we're going to die. And you kind of know when you're going to die. That's why they have ICU units, because everything that predicts death is pointing up. It's thumbs up. Yep, you're going to die because this, and this. So we put you in a place to basically ease your pain before you do pass away from this earth, right? And that's kind of, so we know what death is. We know when death's going to happen. So for a lot of people, it's scary, and sometimes for me, it can be a little scary when I really let my brain just kind of go haywire. But most of the time, there's two ways I can rationalize it. Well, there's one main way. The other one, I have a theory about being dead and dying. Instead of just one death, there's multiple deaths, right? So this one I want to just touch on real quick. It's the idea that throughout your lifetime, you can die hundreds or thousands of times, maybe just twice. And what I mean by that is, as far as we know, death is when your physical being shuts down. I think science still argues if it's brain or if it's heart. I think it's heart, right? Because, who knows? Because your brain tells your heart to pump, but if your heart doesn't pump, your brain doesn't function. So who really knows? In some cultures, you might be dead, but you're not pronounced dead until the priest or whatever your religion is, the person who is the closest to God. So like the priest of any other religion pronounces you dead, and then you're dead. So I'm not really sure. I think they do it by heart in like the medical world, but it could be different for it could be different. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But that's what we think of death, right? Because death is that. It's when our physical being is gone and all of our senses are shut down. And when we do move a little bit after death, when we go through rheumatosis or rigor mortis, it's subconscious. It's just our body's acting out, but we don't have physical control of our body. Like, when something dies, if you like go fishing, you kill fish and it's like jumps around in your fish tank or like your bucket with no water in it, like an hour later, it's going through rigor mortis. Its body's just shutting off. Everything in its body's kind of going back to just kind of dropping. Once again, not a scientist. I probably sound like an idiot for most of you, but that's kind of how I think of it. So that's what death is. So that's what we think of death. When someone dies, they're gone. They're gone from this planet. Well, I've had this theory for the past couple months, I would say. Probably six to 8 months. I've been thinking of death as something that's not physical. Like, it is physical, like your body does shut off, but from the time you get, from the time you're born, which is interesting too, from the time your lights shut off permanently and you can't be awake, you're not going to be awoken. You go through stages of your life where you die, right? You go through emotional, mental deaths. You go through an evolution. You become something that you can't even recognize from the person before. You get a fucking 6-figure job. You have a beautiful family. You have a PhD in biomedical engineering. You have a beautiful wife who just loves you and you love her. And 2 months before that, you were homeless, just got out of prison, getting off of heroin. That is death. You died. You died and you elevated and you were born again into a new world. The only thing that is similar, the only fucking thing that is similar between the recovering heroin addict and the person who's has a beautiful job, a beautiful family, a beautiful life, a beautiful future is your physical being. And even that's completely different from a biological standpoint, from the way your hormones are moving, from the way your neurochemicals are moving. They're moving at a different rate too. So if that's even different, what is the same? Is it your bone structure? Is it just the skin on your body, which is probably cleared up now? Nothing is the same. Nothing the same. You're a different person. You're a different thing. All you have is the memories of what you were before. That's like the placenta being pulled out of the mom when you're born. And that eventually goes away too. Maybe a little bit stays in there, but you're completely a new person. You've died and you left this place in your life. And you were born again into this world. But then what happens? 10 years after that, you get a fucking divorce because you found out she was with a guy for 2 years while you guys were dating for the last 10 years of relationship. You know, your daughter dies tragically in a car accident. And because of that, you got fired from your job because you weren't mentally there anymore. And you fall apart completely. You start drinking heavily. You start smoking cigarettes. You start going to strip clubs. All those vices that you left in your previous life are starting to come back. Well, you died again. You died again. You left this world again. You left the person that you were, and you were born again. But you were born in a shitty fucking situation. And this is how I think about it. The reason why I think about it so much is because the person I am sitting here right now at this table talking to you guys a year ago was unrecognizable. I did not recognize this person. I did not. I couldn't have a 3-hour conversation with somebody about a relationship and give wise advice. I could not support a relationship. Dude, I could barely support my own brain. My brain had its fucking hand across my neck, choking me out. I was negative. I was critical. I did not like talking to people. I was, there was a point there where I was suicidal. There was a point there where I hated everything. I hated myself. The past 12 months of my life have been the 9 months of a human in labor. And I was born. I was born. I died. The person, I still have memories. I have to keep those memories of how much of a broken, mental broken person I was. Emotionally damaged. I have to remember that if I want to continue on in this life. And that's like something that I've been telling people. And it's interesting to see people's responses because their first response is like, whoa, I never thought of it like that. Because we're always taught that death is a one-time thing. Right? Death is a one-time thing. And after that, you're done. But what if it's not? What if even our physical being passing away, like when the lights shut out, when the neurons in our body stop working and our brain stops and our heart stops, what if that is just birth? This is when I'm getting really fucking weird on you guys. But what if that's birth? So we know that before I left the womb of my mother, I was alive for 9 months. I was developing. It's a zygote. I went from a zygote to a human, and I came out, and blah, the physical world, cool. I get it. Awesome. Good. Cool. What if, this is crazy, this is mind-bending, what if the current life we're living right now, the everything, if you're listening, all your senses, everything right now, what if what we're doing right now in this world, I hope I didn't lose everybody, because if I did, I'm about to lose everybody. If I haven't yet, this will. People will be lost here. Getting a job, going to college, graduating, accomplishing things, getting trophies. What if this is just our 9 months in the womb? Because we don't remember being in the womb of our mothers. We can't remember that. We can't remember that. We, at the time, we probably did. We probably were aware of what we were doing. But then when we entered the world, we forgot it all. We have consciousness of what we're doing right now. I know where I am right now. I know where I'm sitting. I know what time of the day it is. I know what time of the year it is. I know what I have to do in the future. I know what I've done in the past. I know I'm talking to you guys. I know hundreds of people are going to listen. I'm aware of this. I'm completely aware of this. I'm not delusional. And I'm also aware that if I live a healthy life, I could live for 90 years. 90 to 100, 120 years. Depends on how technology is. Or potentially forever if my boy David St. Clair up there has the answers. Still haven't read that book yet. I can't wait to read it. But what if this is just the womb? What if death in this world is just birth? What if this is just birth, man? What if when we die in 90 years, we die and we pop out of this fucking just regular woman or whatever the creature is, but let's just say a woman. We all just pop our heads out and there's like another doctor just sitting there and just pulling us out. Pop. And then you just go, wow, you start crying, right? You start crying, you look at your mom and you look at your dad, and then boom, you forgot everything from this previous life. Everything's gone, right? Everything's gone. The same way that when we were in the placenta and we were being born and we were in the womb, and once we came out, boom, everything was gone. We couldn't rationalize everything. What if that is what death is? What if death is just us coming out of the womb again? Again. And everything, our lights, why do the lights go dark? Why does our body shut down? Because your mom's, your creature's just pushing and pushing, and then you're gonna pop out because the lights go off because you gotta forget all this. You can't take this into the future. You'd be a crazy person. You can't take your experiences into your next life. You don't want to be that crazy motherfucker. You don't want to be that crazy person. So your death is just your brain shutting off for a second. Your memories are being lost, and then you pop back into the world, out of the womb, and you're doing it all over again, not knowing that you've already done it before, not knowing that you've already done it 10 times before, hundreds of times, thousands of times before. And if that was the situation, then no wonder evolution makes sense. No wonder, because you take a few memories, right? You take a few memories with you, and if you do it enough, and you have kids, and those kids have kids, then evolution's passed down that way. Isn't that crazy? I don't know. Maybe that is crazy. Maybe I just had way too much weed. No, never have smoked weed, which is crazy because that's where my brain goes. Like, I don't know. I just think that's such an interesting way to view everything, right? It's fascinating, right? It's fascinating. Like, what if we die thousands of times before our lights go off? And when our lights go off, that's just our brains dispatching all of our memories. So when we're born again into another world as the same body form, just a different thing because we don't have memories, because that's what makes us is memories. We don't seem like a crazy person because you do not want to have those memories when you pop back into the world, right? That's not what you want. You don't want to be that crazy motherfucker. Imagine like being born in another world, and for some reason you start talking about World War II. You start talking about Adolf Hitler. These people look at you like, what the fuck are you talking about? Adolf Hitler never existed, bro. Like, come on, what are you doing? Don't say that. What if your brain forgot to delete that image? Forgot to delete the image of Adolf Hitler, and now you're in this world talking about Adolf Hitler. You're fucked. It's not cool. You can't be doing that.